live stream if it's not working.
We're good.
Okay, so we start with the video,
Okay.
the proclamation video, and then we'll go to the PowerPoint.
Get my mouse cooperating. Why is that not working? Boy, this morning's kicking my butt already.
The month of March has been designated as Disability Awareness Month to celebrate and recognize people with disabilities by the Governor of the State of Indiana.
Whereas disability is a natural part of the human experience.
It in no way diminishes the right of individuals with disabilities to live independently.
Enjoy self-determination, make choices, contribute to society, and experience full
In the economic, political, social, cultural,
and educational mainstream of American society.
And whereas family members, friends, and members of the community
Can play a central role in enhancing the lives of people with disabilities,
especially when the family and community are provided with necessary support services.
and public and private employers are aware of the capabilities of people with disabilities
to be engaged in competitive work and inclusive settings.
Properly include providing individuals with disabilities the opportunities and support
To make informed choices and decisions, live in homes and communities where such individuals can exercise their full rights and responsibilities as citizens, pursue meaningful and productive lives, contribute to their family, community, state, and nation. Therefore, I, Scott Davison, Mayor of the City of Fishers, along with the Honorable City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of March as Disability Awareness Month in the City of Fishers. Furthermore, I encourage the citizens of Fishers to seek counsel and input from any person or group with knowledge and expertise in matters concerning disabilities.
Everybody, thank you for coming today. For the last 28 years, the United States has recognized March as National Disability Awareness Month. On February 26, 1987, President Ronald Reagan officially declared Proclamation 5613, making March National Disability Awareness Month. The proclamation called for people to provide understanding, encouragement, and opportunities to help people with disabilities in the United States. They called for people to provide understanding, encouragement, and opportunities to help persons with disabilities to lead productive and fulfilling lives. And this morning, since 2016, the City of Fishers has proclaimed the City of Fishers March Disability Awareness Month. So I want to welcome you today to Achieving More Together. So thank you very much for being here and for seeing us on the live stream today. Together, achieving together, we are building awareness about disabilities. We're providing supports and opportunities, and we're celebrating the contributions of the people in our community, making great strides as advocates and providing opportunities for people in our community and society.
Good morning. I'm Kelly. I am the co-chair of the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. I'd like to welcome you. It's great to see so many faces. I'm masked too. I forgot what some of you look like. First of all, I want to just remind those of you who have not gotten ally kits. You see several people wearing our blue t-shirts. I think we're down to youth sizes, but if you want to connect out in the front lobby of the building, you can get a t-shirt, a bottle of water from our sponsor, the National Bank, and some other goodies like card playing and memoriam for the month of the activities. So make sure you do that. I feel like I'm doing the JCPenney thing. Here is the ally sign. We would love for you to grab a sign. Those are also in the lobby. In the foyer, and put this in your yard so that you can show people how much you you are an ally for people with disabilities to be a meaningful part of our community of Fishers. The other thing I'd like to do is a special shout out to our sponsors who help us make this possible. Old National Bank, I don't know if you know Old National Bank, but they are the largest community bank based here in the state of Indiana. And disability inclusion is one of their very passionate initiatives as a corporation. And so I wanted to thank Old National Bank for being our presenting sponsor for the year. And secondly, I would like to thank some of the other sponsors who are providers of services in our community, Outside the Box, Insights, Kids Inc., and Opportunities for Positive Growth. And I'd like for you guys to give those guys a round of applause. We were also able to garner support from New Hope, who's a provider in the area, as well as Meyer Nation. So thank you to our sponsors, and don't forget your ally kit.
This month would not be possible if we didn't have the volunteers of the March Disability Awareness Committee and the support of the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. The March Committee is a subcommittee of our big group, and many of the individuals that are a part of planning this month are here. So if you are a part of the March Disability Awareness Committee, if you could please stand up to be recognized. Thank you for all your support throughout the years. This is really a community effort with educators, with businesses, with disability stakeholders, with city leaders, community leaders, with the support of the mayor and all the departments of our city of Fishers. So this is a proud moment for our community where we are really achieving more together. We're excited to share a little bit more about what we're doing this month and to introduce and recognize some of the key people that have been working hard as advocates, helping to champion disabilities, helping to support employees that have disabilities. So without further ado, Kelly Hartman is going to introduce our mayor.
Speaking of leaders, we're really lucky in Fishers to have a visionary as the leader of our community. And him and I have gotten to know each other over the last several years and have been on a mutual learning curve, I think, about the role of this committee and really the amazing role of people with disabilities and inclusion in our community. So without further hesitation, I would like to introduce our mayor, Scott.
That youth-size shirt might be a little challenging. Thank you all for being here today. Superintendent Stokes, it's wonderful to see you here today. City Council members, we appreciate you being here. And to my leadership team, it's so great to see so many of our department heads and our other personnel here today at the city, showing that this is important to us. And I think that's a testament, frankly, to where we've come and where we're going. I will tell you, 7 to 10 years ago, within our organization, and really from a public policy perspective, things around disabilities, things about being inclusive were not on the top of our radar. Not out of an intentional malice, but frankly just out of perhaps ignorance. And I have to attribute that sea change, if you will, to the diligence and commitment of one particular individual, and that's Cecilia Coleman. Her tireless efforts towards being an advocate for individuals in our community that struggle with a variety of different disabilities has changed the paradigm here at the City of Fishers. And all the things that you see happening today are a testament to her work. So please give Cecilia a round of applause. So where have we come? Well, I will tell you that from our department head standpoint, from our policy perspectives, it is at the forefront of our consideration on how we become a more inclusive city from a variety of perspectives. In a world that seems to be torn apart about who's what and who are we a part of and who are we not a part of here in our community, and I say community with an emphasis, we are truly trying to strive to become a community. It's one thing to build a the city is very much a different thing than build a community where everyone feels that they have a part of Fisher's story. And so, in the month of March, we take a moment to really reflect and consider what are the things that we can do, how can we further progress the opportunities to make everyone feel a part of the city. One of my favorite events, and I know they'll probably talk about it, is the breakfast that we have where we bring policymakers from city council members, myself, state legislators, county commissioners, school officials, and we sit down at tables with people that have a lived experience very different than us. And we just have a candid conversation about what it's like to deal with housing, what it's like to deal with infrastructure, what it's like to deal with employment. And I can tell you that it's a very, very popular event for our policymakers because they get this brief, rare opportunity to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. And that would not be possible without the efforts of this committee, without the efforts of Kelly and Cecilia. And I can tell you that there is more to come. I think in the coming years you will see a number of very creative partnerships that allow our community to take this concept and broaden it and scale it to what it needs to be for a vibrant, growing community of 100,000. So thank you all for being here today. Co-chairs, well done. I look forward to hearing our guest speaker. Thank you.
Very well said, Mayor, and I really appreciate all the support, and especially your staff that have really worked hard to put this month together. So if I could also recognize the staff from your team, because they put a lot of hard work into promoting this month of March. So could you please give them a round of applause? You know, one of the things that we want people to realize is that in the 70s and 80s, most people with a significant disability were institutionalized, and then we closed those institutions. And now the mindset is that there needs to be inclusion and that people with disabilities live within the citizenry and within the society. And so many of us are living with our loved ones with individuals with disabilities, with our loved ones with disabilities. We have neighbors, we have family members with disabilities. And so we need to look at it from another point of view, that sometimes there's disabilities we don't see, and then sometimes there's disabilities that happen because of an illness or an injury from an accident. So we really need to think about it as we age as well. We may have limitations. So disability is something that it crosses the spectrum of life and humanity, and I'm just grateful that we are looking at this in a different lens and making a difference here in the community of Fishers. I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, Darcy Keith. She is from Fishers, and she is our speaker who is known as the Queen of Survival, the Miracle Child. From injuries she sustained as the only backseat survivor in her fatal car crash while as a senior at Ball State University, Darcy Keith had to learn how to live all over again, mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. With the help of resources and support, she was able to achieve more together so that she could live her best life. Darcy has been featured on various radio and television stations around the country, including ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and with folks such as ABC News reporter Bob Woodruff. She has received numerous honors, including being awarded as an Indiana Hero by the Indiana Pacers, a 2000 Ball State University graduate of the last decade, and many others. Darcy is one of 7 individuals nationally who sits on the Brain Injury Advisory Council for the Brain Injury Association of America. She also sits on an advisory committee to Ohio State University's Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation. Darcy has spoken for various corporations and associations and service organizations, as well as NFL teams such as the Baltimore Ravens and the Indianapolis Colts as part of the NFL's Rookie Success Program. Today, she will be sharing her disability story as well as brain injury awareness. So please help me to welcome Darcy Keith.
you have ever had a bad day? My sister had a bad day. She had a bad day when she had to identify me in this car crash. You see, I was pretty messed up, and the only way she could tell it was me were by my painted fingernails and pinky ring. This morning, I'm going to share my disability story and how, with support and resources, we were able to achieve more together so that I can live my best life. But because brain injury can happen anywhere, anytime to anyone, I'm going to share some signs, symptoms, and other indications as to what it's like to experience a brain injury. Now, the college years are supposed to be some of the best years of your life, right? And like many of you that have been in college, I experienced those things too. But there was one experience my senior year which changed my world forever. I was vice chairman for my sorority, Sigma at Ball State. We were contacted by our national organization to go to Morehead State in Morehead, Kentucky to start a chapter of our sorority. So what college kid would want to skip class and road trip, right? Well, that's what four of my sorority sisters and I did. We conducted our rush parties and we were on our way back to Ball State when we were in a car crash. We're on a road like I-69 or I-65 where you have 2 lanes going in either direction. We were in the fast lane, imagine that. Two semis flew by us in the slow lane. When that second semi went by, the driver of our car felt like she was being sucked under, or our car was being sucked under the trailer, and the light of the trailer was right outside our car window. I'm told we started screaming, thinking we were going to collide. She jerked the car and spun and landed sideways in the middle of the road. The third semi saw us, but could not stop in time. T-boned our car, climbed up on top of it, crushing it down with my sorority sisters who went faster. The one in the middle backseat was flipped upside down and got a broken neck. The driver and the front seat passenger were both buckled in seatbelts. They blacked out from the force of the impact and they walked away with minor injuries. As for me, I was sitting behind the driver. Because we were sitting this way, when the semi hit us, it threw my head and the side of the wheel into the front seat. I was like a human pinball because I was unrestrained. Because my 2 sorority sisters next to me were killed, when I woke up, they had to take off some of my fingernail polish to see if my color under my fingernail was blue. Of course, it was pink. They then lifeline me to the University of Cincinnati Hospital based on my support. Now, my parents got that dreaded phone call in the middle of the night to come to University of Cincinnati Hospital. Well, they're like, University's at Ball State. You know, how many of us tell our parents we're going to road trip to another college, right, and skip class for the day? But they got to change clothes and they had the University of Cincinnati Hospital. When they arrived, the doctors told them that I would live, but they did not know what type of condition I came on my coma. So I'm going to share a few pictures of the car. This is the license plate of the front of the semi. You can see that it embedded inside. The license plate is embedded inside. And then you can also see the rim cracked from the pressure of the semi when it comes on top of this. So when I woke up out of my 6-day coma, I had to learn how to live all over again. My injuries included I had 2 severe traumatic brain injuries, one to the left lobe and one to the right frontal lobe of my brain, a right left lung. I had a right paralyzed vocal cord, and I had temporary paralysis on my body's right side. So if someone's had a stroke on half their body, their opposite side is affected the same way with me. I had foot drop, which is where the legs or the nerve syndrome muscles don't work quite right, and so your feet would really drop. So pick up my foot or pick up my leg, it would drop. Same thing. And I get corrected by having cast on my legs. My brain swelled inside my skull, and you might think like the inside is smooth, like the outside, but it's not. It's sort of rough, bumpy, and rocky. So if you imagine a very delicate brain bouncing around inside your brain and skull, things can happen, and it did. My brain sheared, and I had blood on my brain. And the significance of that is blood on the brain is kind of like acid, and it eats your brain cells. So I have a little scoop out of my frontal lobe from my brain. Later when my daughter was down and she did brain injury presentation, she's just like, yeah, my mom was part of her mind. And it's perspective, that's probably true. So anyway, that's a little bit about some of my injuries. I did have 3 therapies twice a day, and occupational, speech, and physical therapy, and recreational therapy twice a week. But when I was in the hospital, I was just concerned about getting me better, and with the help of others, we were able to achieve more, including my faith, that allowed me to get better. One of the first things I had to learn how to do was how to be fed. Does this look familiar to anyone? This is a feeding tube. It went up my nose and down my stomach. Now, I don't know when you're little, if your kids do this, stick pins, fingers, crayons, throw swings, rumples up their nose. Okay. Anybody ever have to go to the emergency room to get it out? When I speak at high schools on brain injury prevention, there's some students that say, no, I got to. Brownsburg is a really popular place to do stuff. So this really hurt me. So I pulled out. They'd stick it right back in. I just knew this hurt. I didn't know that they were thinking this way. I pulled out. They stick it in, and it got to a point where they had to tie my arms down the hospital bed because I was doing some damage to my vocal cords. But as I moved on, I was able to learn that I was being fed differently. And the next, when I took the tube out, the next stage of food for me was that of like canned cat food. But now, as you think school lunches are bad, you can't, this was really nasty. But again, with the brain injury, I'm a small mechanism, and that's how I had to learn how to live and how to eat. Until they moved me up the chain, and I got to eat normal food before I left the hospital. And with drinks, it wasn't like I could just go grab a bottle of water or the drinking fountain. They had to pick all my liquids with thick. Because if they would try to pick it, it's pretty gross. But they wanted the liquid to slide down my throat so I wouldn't choke. Because if you ever take a drink with like pop or milk or juice or water and you breathe at the same time, it comes like coffee right up your nose, aspiration, and that's what I would do. So that's why I'm thinking all my liquids with thick. But before the hospital, I was able to eat and drink just fine. Now, my 40 days was 2 days after I got off the line with the date. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to ask my night nurse. He's kind of cute and not my age. Okay, I'm in the hospital. I'm desperate here. My options are very limited. So when I called him, and when he came into the room, instead of asking him to dance, I asked him to change my sheets because I wet my bed. How many of you ask for a date you just for your penis? With a brain injury, you have no control over your bladder or your bowels. You're just like a baby. One of the cool things about brain injury is I did not know anything traumatic, and I did not know right from wrong. So my mom, who walked through that hospital door, I could call her every name in the book and tell her exactly what I thought of her and totally get away with it. And I took advantage, but after a while, you were reminded that's inappropriate. You shouldn't say those things to your friends, your family. You have to be taught this is appropriate to say and this is not appropriate to say. So that was only one of the other cool things about having a brain injury. I'm going to share a few pictures now of this. Oh, here's the sunlight, by the way. There's a little damage to the grill, but not much more. Here's me in the hospital with them putting the feeding tube. You notice I only have to hold half my body since my right side was paralyzed. I'm not very happy. But in this one, I'm smiling, I'm happy, and they're happy, and I think it's because my arms were tight on my bed. So going back to college, 2 months after I was discharged from the hospital, I re-enrolled at Ball State University in a new major because I lost memory of my previous one. So I got to reinvent myself, I got a do-over. So when I learned the new major, my therapists were also with me at the time. So my professors and my therapists were in constant communication regarding my performance and my progress. And having a brain injury is kind of like having attention deficit disorder. You can't concentrate on what you read because you can't concentrate on it and you can't read it, you can't retain it. And if you can't retain it, you can't recall it. So tackling a new major had its challenges. But through my therapists and my professors, they were helping me working together to achieve more so that I could put my life back together. Therapists, professors, transportation, community supports from my hometown of Rushville, they were there for me all the way. And so were sorority sisters and fellow students. Everybody worked together to help me achieve my best life. Now financially, I was putting myself through college. And fortunately, Ball State's financial aid department worked with me so I can maintain my academic scholarship as well as provide other sources of educational funds so that I can continue to resume my education. So today, as a result, I graduated with a master's degree in insurance. I'm a business analyst for State Auto Insurance Company. I've been in that capacity for over 25 years. I have 3 professional designations. I'm also a professional speaker with my own company. So Darcy, you're great. You're married, you have a job, you have a degree. What are some of your residuals? What are you living with on a daily basis? Well, there are 4 main things that I live with. One, I have a different voice I had before I was injured. Because remember me pulling out that feeding tube, coupled with my vocal cords going back, I have no high octave range, so I cannot scream. Now my husband likes that because it also means I cannot whine. I also have some weakness from the right side paralysis, and no matter how many weights I lift, I will never get that nerve regeneration back. So, like my daughter, she played freshman softball for Campbell Southeastern, and she'd say, "Hey mom, let's go out throw the ball." Sure, why not? So I'd go out and throw out the ball. She throws me, I throw it back. It might go over here. It might go over here. It might land in front of her. And she's like, "Mom, can you just get the ball back?" And I'll be like, "Okay, I'm living in a softball game. Does the batter hit the ball at you?" No. They hit it over here. They hit it over here. They hit it right here. I'm just retrieving for the game. It's funny. Oh. So again, it's how you're doing different things. Third thing is I have vertigo. So will have dizziness for the rest of my life. And I deal with that in several different ways. One, I have to watch how much sleep I get. I have to watch my stress level, and I have to watch how much I eat or what I eat. So all those things have to be in balance for me to be in balance. The 4th thing that I have that I will have for the rest of my life, I have sleep disturbances. So I, for the most part, go to sleep, but staying asleep is my problem. So the littlest noise can wake my brain up, and the neurons start firing, and I just cannot go back to sleep. So I have to take medication for that. I also have an eye mask, and I have a white noise machine, so it'll drown any noises, and the light will not wake my brain up. So those are just some of the things that the residual effects I have. So why should you be concerned? There are 2 types of traumatic brain injury, but what is a brain injury? A brain injury happens every 15 seconds in America, and over 100,000 people die each year because of traumatic brain injury, and over 500,000 are on disability because of brain injury every year. Now, brain injury, it can be a bump, blow, jolt to the brain, or a penetrating injury, anything that disrupts the normal brain function. The leading cause of brain injuries are falls. But there are also vehicle crashes. So there's another type of brain injury besides traumatic brain injury. Let me go back. It's acquired brain injury. Acquired brain injury is a non-traumatic injury that still disrupts the brain, and it could be from a heart attack, a lack of oxygen, or an aneurysm, or it could be from a stroke. My husband was 4 years old and he had a stroke. And that was from a hole in his heart, so there was blood clot that went to his brain. But anyway, there was a lack of oxygen to that. Some signs and symptoms of traumatic brain injury. You can look at me and be like, "You look normal." You can never tell. I hear all the time. I wish I had a doctor every time. You don't look like you have a brain injury. And that's a double-edged sword because it's like, what do I have to look like? Do I have to have some deformality about me? Do I have to have some scars? Do I have to walk funny? Which actually I did walk funny first because I got better. But it's just, what do I have to look like? And what you see is up here, is above the iceberg. You look fine. But what you don't see are the things to look at. The things such as fatigue. In the morning, you may wake up out of bed and you're ready to go for the day. Okay, so your energy level might be up here. Mine is down here. Mine's like halfway. And then or a survivor or an individual with brain injuries like this. And throughout the day, our energy depletes. And we may not have anything at the end of the day, or maybe even at lunchtime. I tell my husband, the code word for that is I have nothing in the tank. Because it just wears us out. So other things, irritability, confusion, loud noises, again, you've got sleep disturbances, you can't concentrate, you have that brain fog, like COVID. COVID was a perfect thing for folks to understand a little bit about what we experience as a brain injury. You know, we're isolated sometimes, we don't get the interaction with people, we rely on people to help us, whether with groceries, whether it be transportation, whether it be food. So that's a little bit about what we experience and what you don't see with brain injury. Recently in the news, it was reported that Actor Bob Saget died from a brain bleed. It was theorized that he fell in the bathroom based upon where his skull was cracked. But he probably got up, because he looked at himself in the mirror and thought, you know what, I'm fine, I'm gonna have a headache, I may be a little bit dizzy, so I'm just gonna take some medicine and slip it off. Well, you know, he never woke up. So anytime you have some sort of injury to your brain, it could be penetrating, it could be not penetrating, but you pay attention to those symptoms that you don't see, because things could be more severe. And we definitely don't want that to happen. While most falls and brain injuries don't result in serious or long-term consequences, some of them, if the symptoms develop that you see up there, or actually what you don't see in person, then please call 911 immediately. While we have made great strides in acknowledging mental health, there are some mental health issues that us individuals with brain injury have. If we live a lie, and things will always be dark, and we will always have struggles. At first, I walk funny. I talk funny because my vocal cord was paralyzed, so I sound like a little mouse. And just things just, in my life, I'm like, am I going to be like this? But thank you to neuroplasticity, which does allow sometimes brains are wired. So I had my brain up to find out, is there anything I can do to help my brain? And with that, you could see little connections going around where there was a hole in my brain. So I know I found my mind back. I no longer lose it. That was another reference. So a lot of us, because things happen to us and we live with issues every day, we go down that rabbit hole. We're like, are we going to live this the rest of our life? And some of this, we're all in the same storm. We're navigating the same storm in this journey, but we may be in different boats. Some boats may be bigger, some boats may be smaller. It all depends upon how your brain was injured. And it's kind of like a snowflake. They all don't look alike. Same with the brain injury. If you see one brain injury, you've seen one brain injury. We're all different. Another struggle is, another mental health issue is, some of us can't go back to work and contribute financially like we did before. That's pretty hard when you've been working or you're the breadwinner, and you feel like you are a burden to your family because they have to make accommodations for you now. They have to change your home, they have to change routine. You have to change how you drive. There are lots of things that financially we can contribute, and so therefore we don't feel like we're a burden. Another thing is nobody likes us anymore, and we have no friends. That may sound kind of weird, but there are a lot of things that I can't do that my friends can. So my daughter wanted us to go see Taylor Swift. I'm like, oh my word. These girls, everything loud, the noises. I knew I would have a problem, so I took migraine medicine before. I took my earplugs, and occasionally I would sit down and close my eyes while she was, things for me, and that was all fine. But because some things we can't do any longer, we don't have friends anymore. When I was at church yesterday, or Sunday, I was talking to a mother of 2 elementary school-aged kids who were in a car crash. And you look at them and they're fun because they were being checked into the child care, like allergies and different things like that. But they are having issues now with like sounds and wanting to play and activities and things. And the mother confided in me that her 4th grade daughter, the friends are now starting to pull away from her because she can't play like they can play. We can't do a lot of things that sometimes other people can. My first weekend pass out of the hospital, I went to the bowling alley to watch my cousin bowl. And I walked in, and just the commotion, just the crowd, the movement, And then the balls and the pins overwhelmed my brain so much that I had to leave. So I may not be able to do fun activities with my friends. And then because we have friends, I don't have things in common with them any longer, and they don't know how to address that, they walk away, and so we feel like we don't have friends. There's a stigma about having a brain injury. Oh, I got some stories for that. I'll just share a couple. When I was looking for a job after college, you know, when you go into an interview, they have a whole list of interview questions, and of course, this is one of them. What difficult thing have you gone through in your life, and how did you deal with that? Because everyone wants to do in a real life situation. So what did I do? I talked about my car crash and my brain injury. And no joke, the interview's eyes got so big, I'm like, well, I didn't get that job. Because again, there's a stigma about brain injury. So the next time around, I did tell the person I had a brain injury and I got hired. And actually, full disclosure, I did an internship with that company before, 8 months before the crash, so they kind of liked me and wanted to have me back. So that's another thing, is there's a stigma around brain injury. And because of our injury, others don't take us seriously. Now, a lot of us individuals with brain injury, we may be very childlike in our speech and our actions. One thing I had to learn with my injury is I had to go back to the basics. I had to go back to the basics of walking. I had to go back to the basics of learning how to speak. Learning just everything in my life, even heavy or potty training, the basics that we are taught when we're younger. I had to go back to that. So because of that, and being very childlike, some people don't take us seriously. They may say, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. They're not involved with that. It's too much for them to understand, so they don't take us seriously. So those are some mental health issues that we have. So tips for those of you who have a brain injury or know someone who has a brain injury, repetition is something that works for me. Repetition, verbal and visual cues. Repetition, verbal and visual cues. Repetition, verbal and visual cues. You got no problem. That works for me. So have you ever walked into a room and be like, what did I come in here for? Okay, I have a tip for you. What I do is I verbally say out loud, I'm going to go take out the trash. I'm going to go in and get a drink. So I don't walk in the kitchen and go, what did I come in here for? Oh, that cake looks good over there. Oh, don't get squirreled or sidetracked. I verbally say that out loud so I hear it. I have an audible cue. So next time, try that. Next time you go into a room or you want to go get something, verbally say it out loud. Maybe that'll clue you in that, hey, and not be a brain, that, hey, this is something that I need to do or I need to remember. So that works for me. And I have Post-it notes. Like I have Post-it notes on my mirror today to make sure that I brought, my clicker or my water or my PVC and things just to remind me of what to do. If you can't do something, maybe you used to be able to try something new, and this just goes for anybody. Like with my brain injury, I also remember my college major. Oh, that was devastating. I completed an 8-month internship with a company that promised me a job when I graduated. Next thing you know, I'm injured. Forget that job, forget my college, forget everything I worked for my entire life. What would you do if you lost everything, mentally, physically, with the paralysis, emotionally, with the primal measure, which is where your emotions and your judgment and control, and then financially, the internship, everything you worked for in your career. Like I said before, I had to do that myself. I had to try something new. And you know what? I like it. So what if you have to try something new? Maybe something new that you like. It could be painting, it could be a new hobby. So if you can't do something, try something new. Another tip is get a device on which you can keep notes and appointments. Smartphone is a good example of that. Again, with notes, tips. Other survivors of traumatic brain injury, they don't keep notes and tips on their phones, voice memos, just any type of app, any type of tip, trigger tip. It could be written down as well as that involves another sense. And finally, get that sleep and rest. When you have a broken leg, or broken arm, or you twist your ankle, do you run a marathon the next day? No, you rest it, right? A brain is no different. It's hurt. But we can't see, we can't put an ice pack on our brain. Our brain has to rest as well. And we can't just, go back to what we used to do. You have to rest. You have to take care of yourself just like you broke a bone, you let it rest so that it would heal. The same thing has to go for a brain. So what do we want you, the normal people, to know? First, please don't be condescending and talk to us like a child. We've experienced that a lot. Again, because folks' idea of brain injury is that you may not be connecting right everything in the brain, or being able to speak, or being able to act appropriately. Just please don't be condescending to us or talk to us like children. We already have a problem with self-esteem and self-confidence, and that only makes it worse. We need a lot of rest and sleep. Again, it goes back to your brain and needing that organ to be able to function again. Like on a leg or broken bone, you need to rest it and let it sleep. We need rest and sleep, and we are not lazy. Just because I have nothing in the tank doesn't mean that I don't want to help out. It's not that I'm lazy, it's just I have nothing left in the tank, and I need to rest, I need to recharge. So that's why on the earlier slide, rest and sleep are extremely important. Our steam fluctuates even though we look good. Goes back to not in the tank. We look at us, one day you may be fine, you may be able to interact again and do well. So the next day, I can't go hiking because my stamina, we went up a hill and I'm like, okay, I gotta go back down. I'm done. You guys can go on up because I get our stamina and it just wears me out. With the right side paralysis, and the weakness that I have, it's very tiring because I overexert myself to keep up with my left side, so my stamina goes down more quickly. So just because we look fine, our stamina does fluctuate daily. Crowd confusion and loud noises quickly overloads our brain. We want you to know that because we may not be able to walk into a room or go to a restaurant or go to a sporting event without it just freaking our brain out. And that's a medical term, it's freaking our brain out because we just don't know how to process. We have a slow processing time with that. So patience, because of this, we may be slower. It may take us longer to get ready. There's things that with the routine, you'll get up, put on your socks, put on your pants, put on whatever you need to do. It may take us longer because we have to process, we have to think about it. It's not just natural and habitual for us, we have to think about it. So patience is the best thing that you can give us. So having a brain injury can be very life-changing to us. If you've experienced one, the good news is there's hope and there are resources available. 30 years ago when I had my brain injury, there wasn't much knowledge and education about it. My dad thought I would eat vegetables for the rest of my life. That's how much knowledge there was about a brain injury. So please look that there is hope and there are resources available for professionals, caregivers, and individuals who experience brain injury. And the first one I was talking about is Brain Injury Association of Indiana. We're so grateful to have our executive director and president who will be here with us today. But we also have, and I have these flyers, brochures. If you want to take it with you there on the website, they have the resources. They have supporters at various listings. So there is hope and there is help for you. The Brain Injury Association of America also has some great resources, articles, there are videos. Again, there is something here to help and to help us live this life, to help navigate, because this is a lifelong chronic injury we have to deal with. And lastly, brainline.org also has some great resources. So the next time you have a bad day, or if you experience a brain injury, you will understand a little bit more about what it's like to live with a brain injury. But because we, the support and resources, we achieve more together, I'm living my best life. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Darcy, for that wonderful story. We do have time for maybe one or two questions. Are there any questions from the audience that you would like to ask Darcy? Anybody have specific questions?
Yes.
Do you still have do you have filters, or did you have to just learn?
I had to learn filters because I had no filter. With my frontal lobe being, my emotional being, my judgment, I had no filters. So that's what caused me to to have outbursts and things, so I had to learn how to have filters again. I'm sure Vanessa, if you were here, you'd say she's still learning. No, I don't think that's something for asking. Again, I think that's neuroplasticity, that's my brain being able to rewire. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy, and we're just happy to have you here sharing your story. We look forward to working with you in the future to help more of our community that have brain injuries. Thank you. One more question, yes.
I don't have a question, but I'm very proud to be here supporting Darcy. Today is the start of Brain Injury Awareness Month, with also Disability Awareness Month. So this is not ironic. I know Darcy is here for a reason, not just for comments, but because of what today brings. So be aware of what's going on in her and what she shared. You did a beautiful job. So I just wanted to share that happy Brain Injury Awareness Month, happy Disability Month, happy Social Worker Month, and everything else going on. Happy Public Spring.
Thank you. So those of you that are watching now, this month is also Brain Injury Month, so thank you for sharing that information. At this time, this is one of our most exciting parts of the program. Every year we recognize individuals in our community that do an astounding job of advocating, of providing work opportunities, of showcasing their talents, and we want to recognize some of the people in our community. And so this is really one of my favorite parts today. The first award we're going to present is the Life Without Limits Award. The recipient of the Life Without Limits Award goes to an individual with physical and/or intellectual disabilities who has demonstrated outstanding contributions to the community of Fishers by promoting inclusion, independence, and eliminating barriers. Contributions of community life, including art, culture, athletics, workplace, education, leadership, and service. So at this time, I want to bring up Jennifer Hatcher. She's the Senior Community Outreach Manager for the Humane Society for Hamilton County, and she's going to share who the recipient of the 2022 Life Without Limits Award is, and I'm super excited for this individual.
Thank you. Again, my name is Jennifer Hatcher. I'm the Senior Community Outreach Manager at the Humane Society for Hamilton County. And it's my honor to kick off Disability Awareness Month and present the Life Without Limits Award today. The Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability has rallied the community to work together to make Fishers an inclusive place to live, work, and volunteer for those with disabilities. This year's award recipient is a Fishers High School senior. He has many passions he uses to better his community, from scouts, sports, his local church, and of course the shelter. He makes a difference every day in the human and furry lives who live in the city. He and his family and friends describe him as caring, kind, enthusiastic, and of course, an avid animal lover, specifically cats. So his dedication to volunteering at the Humane Society has impacted countless animals each year who are waiting for their homes. I'm honored to present the Life Without Limits Award to Carter Ford.
Thank you to the Fishers Disability Awareness Council and everyone who nominated me. I am thankful for my family, friends, Unified Track Special Olympics, the Indy Fishers Scouts, and those teachers who have supported me over the years.
I'm excited for Carter, and I'm excited that some of his friends from Fishers High School are here to support him and wanted to see him be recognized today. And I appreciate all the people from HSC schools that are also here to recognize Carter. He's an exceptional athlete doing unified track. He's in the Boy Scouts. He's an Eagle Scout. He's a rock star, and I have no doubt he's going to be shining and doing a lot more wonderful things in our community. So congratulations, Carter.
Our next award is the Cornerstone Employer Award. This award is given to an individual, business, or organization in the Fishers community who has demonstrated an exemplary commitment to providing inclusion, career training, employment, and/or advancement opportunities to persons with disabilities. There are a lot of people in this room that are champions for employment in our community of people with disabilities. And what you may not know is that in Hamilton County, we have returned to unemployment rates pre-pandemic under 3%. What you may not also know is that more than 60% of qualified people who happen to have a disability remain unemployed. And so it takes all kinds of different leaders in our community to be inclusive and meaningful. The award winner for the Cornerstone Employment Award is someone I met when he was my kid's 6th grade teacher. To this day, their juniors in high school, they still say, Mr. Ham is one of my favorites. Mr. Ham is no longer an educator in a school. He's an educator in our community as the owner of Smoothie King downtown Fishers. And I walked in one day and I was like, dude, how's it going? He's like, need more employees. And I go, I got an idea. And Mr. Ham is the kind of employer in Fishers now we are looking for all over our city. He's like, absolutely, I'm open, let's do this. And now he is a champion as an employer in our community for people with disabilities with a willingness to open his doors. And as our Christian Ham, I am very happy to provide this opportunity for you to come out and be recognized as the Cornerstone Employment Worker.
It's awesome. I had a brother who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, who growing up had a disability. He was actually the influence for why I went into education. But then as I left education, as Kelly mentioned, I wanted to be connected and still with students. And so when we had the opportunity to bring in students over the last 2 years to work in our store, it was a no-brainer for me. The final thing is that I want to know this. Carter was actually in my class in 6th grade. so it's kind of amazing that on this day, while I'm being honored, the more honor is him, what he is showing and demonstrating, that people who have special abilities are able to contribute to our society and our community. And so I thank you for this honor. I didn't realize, I thought it was a group of businesses. I didn't know it was just one, so that's amazing. And I just feel very, very humble that I've been blessed with the opportunity to stay connected with students and support people who have a right and should be given the opportunity to contribute in the business community. So thank you.
We got a tie. Which is a great category to have a tie in because we need employers. So I would like to invite Wendy Garnia to present our second winner and Cornerstone Employer Award.
Thank you, Kelly. My name is Wendy McNarney, and my son Brian, front row in blue, is a 22-year-old young adult with intellectual and developmental disabilities. When Brian received his certificate of completion from Hamilton Southeastern High School in the spring of 2019, he was working part-time at the Fishers YMCA. Ryan continued with this job until March of 2020, until, you know what happened, COVID hit and the work closed. For the next 9 months, my husband Paul and I, along with the help of vocational rehabilitation services, worked with Ryan on the type of job that he wanted to go after next. It became pretty clear that Ryan just wanted a place to work where he felt that he was, number one, helping others, and number two, where he felt like he was valued. During high school, Ryan did a job rotation where he volunteered at Geist Elementary School in the cafeteria. Ryan said, you know, Mom, I really think I want to go back there and try to do that job again. So, in December of 2020, in the midst of the craziness of the pandemic, I emailed Andrea Ray, Angel in the green, didn't know her at all, looked on the website. She's the Director of Food Services for Hamilton County Schools, or Hamilton Southeastern Schools. And I emailed her and asked her if Ryan could apply for an employment position in one of her cafeterias. She said, hey, I'll get back to you in a month. I need to see what the schools are going to look like, what the cafeterias are going to look like. I need to figure out what the cafeteria procedures are going to be like, considering all the COVID protocols. True to her word, Andrea emailed me in February of 2021, and she offered my kid a paid position in the Geist Elementary cafeteria as the cafeteria supervisor. Ryan just recently celebrated his 1-year anniversary of having his job. Our family is incredibly thankful to Andrea for giving Ryan the opportunity to hold such a meaningful position. Ryan's day consists of working in the cafeteria under the supervision of June Barnes, there, the amazing and nurturing cafeteria manager. He also is under the supervision of Rod Sutherland, raise your hand, Rod, the patient and very motivating physical education teacher. I nominated these two fine people for this award. It's because of the two of them that Ryan feels like he is part of something really special. He wakes up every single morning enthusiastic to report to work. Ryan has a sense of ownership and a great sense of responsibility for the job tasks. He is so proud of his work ethic because the expectations from Rod and June are extremely clear, and he just doesn't ever want to disappoint them. It is because of Geist Elementary's atmosphere of inclusivity and positive energy that's created by Principal Ms. Thomas, raise your hand, and Assistant Principal Mrs. Laffey, and support staff like a wonderful Mrs. Cross in the front office, and Mrs. Howard, custodian, and especially June and Rod. That Ryan feels valued and loved and accepted every day that he reports to work. He is thriving in this work environment where he feels like he is really making a difference because he is part of something bigger than himself. He is a member of this incredible team at Geist Elementary School. It is for all of these admirable and invaluable reasons that Geist Elementary, and specifically Rod and June, are the recipients, one of the recipients of the 2022 Cornerstone Employer Award. Congratulations to your awesome school and to the two of you.
say a few words.
Oh, that tugs at my heartstrings, and I'm so thankful of the opportunities that we have here. I'm proud to be living in this city. And the last award that we are giving out is the 2022 Accessibility Award. The Accessibility Award recognizes an individual, business, or organization in the Fishers community that has made exceptional contributions to advocate and/or eliminate barriers and aspects of community life to ensure persons with disabilities can access and participate in programs, activities, and events. And I'm going to say a few words about this individual, and Kelly is going to share a little bit too. She nominated him, and it was a very unanimous decision, but unfortunately, this individual could not be here today. He has a health issue, and God willing, he's going to overcome it and feel better and stronger. And he amazes me. This individual is Tom Rich, and he is been president of the Fishers Arts Council for many years, has been a volunteer, an advocate, and champion of the arts and culture here in our city of Fishers. And he's an amazing man. I don't know how he does it through COVID and through the treatments and things he's been doing. And it's what lifts him up. It's what gets him charged up. And I feel it's the medicine, it's the love, and it's the passion that he brings to our community to champion the arts, and especially people with disabilities. So for a number of years, we've been collaborating with the Fishers Arts Council to hold an art exhibit here at Fishers City Hall and around the community to exhibit the beautiful artwork of individuals with disabilities who are artists. And he works tirelessly, and we appreciate everything that he does. And he wakes up and he's ready to go, and it's what lifts him up and gets him going every day. And he's so deserving of this award. And so we are going to accept this award on his behalf. And I know Kelly Hartman wants to say a few words as well.
Oh, I think you said them all. The cool thing about Tom Rich is that he's an example of what we need more of in this community, which is not a perception that people with disabilities are part of a charity project. He gets excited about people who are great artists. He gets excited about people who are making a contribution. It doesn't matter if they have a disability or not. And when I first met him through my role with Outside the Box and our Studio OTB program, he was so excited about the contribution of people to this community in arts. So on behalf of Tom, we will very happily accept this award for him.
So achieving more together, we want to highlight some of these achievements in the last year. The achievements have been ongoing in the last 6 years. We have evolved, we've grown, we've been the light and the example for other communities to follow suit. And we have been involved with the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability for 6 years. It's been a collaboration, like I said, of stakeholders, of educators, of the business community, city officials, the mayor's office and his staff, the providers that provide services for people with disabilities. And I'm excited to say that after 6 years of working in an informal way, but making a difference, and I remember when I approached Mayor Fadness and I said, I really want to try to see what we can do to advance disabilities in our community. You know, there's so many challenges that we haven't resolved yet at the state and national level. And I know Fishers, we're innovative, we are doers, we are people that look outside the box and work together to make a difference. it's just been amazing, and this could not happen without the support and the work of all the individuals, many of you who are here today. We're so thankful for this collaboration, because we are meeting these challenges. We are making a difference, and we're showing that collectively we can provide a life without limits for all people in our community. So I'm excited to share with you that Monday at our council meeting, our city council codified in an ordinance the establishment and a formal group called the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. So I'm really, really excited to have this ordinance here, and it was supported by our city council and our mayor, and this would not have been possible, again, without the support of our mayor and the city staff and all of you. And Kelly and I are just so excited about what's going to happen as we move on into the future, because we're making a difference in this community and in other communities. So thank you for the support. Thank you for believing in us, and we're excited about the future.
I would say more about that, but I don't want to cry anymore publicly. That is a big deal. Second thing that we're super excited about that's happened in the past year is the opening of South Point Village. And if you've not had the opportunity to visit there, it is a beautiful apartment complex. It looks like many other apartment complexes in Fishers, but the thing that makes that different is that in partnership with the City of Fishers and the Indiana Housing and Community Development Association, and it's our first affordable housing unit here in Fishers. The really cool thing is that the majority of those apartments are handicap accessible to the highest standards of the ADA. I remember walking through it, I'm sure after this morning you're surprised I cried the whole time, because it was so unbelievably unique to any place I've ever seen, where so many units can be accessed in a way where people can live their best life. As Wilbur knows, for those of us who have been in housing and dealt with challenges over the years, it used to be the laws in the state of Indiana that your apartment was considered accessible if someone with a wheelchair could get in your front door. Now, if you live in an accessible apartment with your wheelchair, but you can't get to the bathroom or your bedroom, imagine the challenges of just living in your living room. So, maybe that's why they call it a living room. Because you would have to live everything in your living room. South Point Village is different. There's a set aside for people to participate in the Fishers community as part of our workforce. And the one that I'm super excited about is that there was a number of units set aside for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. If you haven't been there, please do so. Real America, the developer, has been very, very active in the disability and inclusion efforts in our community, and I'm super excited about this. The next thing we want to recognize is the Fishers Health Department. First of all, their leadership through COVID as a newly established health department was absolutely amazing. They have been a great support to people in the disability community as we look at mitigating the risks, as well as getting people vaccinated and boosted. If you would like a free take-home kit to test for COVID at your home, we have those available on the side table from the Fishers Health Department. The other cool thing that they're doing is very recently started an initiative to look at Caregiver Supports and uniting families who care for people in their homes. Again, a big support to pulling people from our community that can support each other. So we wanted to recognize the Fishers Health Department.
Here's a picture of the ribbon cutting for South Point Village, and it's been amazing with the support of Janus Developmental Services that are doing the support services for the residents there with disabilities. Next, I want to introduce a representative from May Mobility, Christian Medlock. And the exciting thing about what we're doing here in Fishers is that we are including people with disabilities, and one of the things that was started here most recently is a pilot autonomous vehicle program that is set in set routes around the city, and it has a vehicle that is adaptable and accessible for people with physical disabilities. So today we're going to have Christian talk about May mobility and some of the things that we've been doing to try to help with our transportation issues and looking into the future of possible solutions.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. First of all, when they told me that, asked me if I would come out and say a few words, they didn't say that I was going to be following a great presentation with Darcy and, a ton of awesome awards. So I'm really happy to be following up with all those to talk about May mobility. May mobility really, first of all, my name is Christian Medlock. I am Site Operations Manager for May mobility. I may have already met some of you if you come into the old Plumber Supply building. Surprise, it's us. So we are actually going around the Nickel Plate District right now, giving free rides in our autonomous vehicles and really trying to help the community. One of the things that Darcy said is when she was recovering, the community had to come together and transportation was a big need for her. And that's one of the problems that May Mobility is trying to solve today with technology that's meant for tomorrow. So we have our self-driving shuttles going around from different areas that you'll see up on the map. We have them going from the Pullman Point apartments to actually South Point to help commuters get from point A to point B, which is anywhere from South Point, to bring somebody to Target or over right in front of Smoothie King, as well as the library, the post office, have to stop right behind CVS. And a lot of you have seen us driving around. I'm sure some of you have probably been behind us or in front of us and wondered, what are these vehicles that have a bunch of funny looking pieces added onto them, a big blue dome on top that some people think are a Google car. All of those are our sensors. And what it is doing, it is looking around the world today for what can happen. And with our technology, we can kind of predict things for about 10 to 15 seconds in the future of kind of what is this car going to do, what is this maneuver going to be. And we make that decision and the car will drive itself. Well, why is that important to this community, and why is it important to help anybody with disabilities? Is honestly, if you look around, there's not a lot of public transit around here. And that's really why we came to this area, and that's why we wanted to make sure we help out. We do run from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every Monday through Friday with 5 different Lexus SUVs, but we also have one extra. It's called a Polaris Gem. We call that our wheelchair accessible shuttle. That is basically an on-demand service that we are willing to help anybody with. You just call and we will come pick up anybody that is needing access with a wheelchair. We did bring a couple of our vehicles with us today. If anybody is interested in taking a look or getting more information on it, we are parked out right back here by the fire department. So feel free, we'll hang out for a little bit afterwards. But like I said, happy to have any riders. If you want to test us out, anybody that just sees a need for it, stop by, let us know. We're really here to help out the community and help anybody out that needs it. So really appreciate everybody for having us.
I'm not sure if Christian mentioned this, but this is free. This is a pilot currently in partnership with the City of Fishers that runs Christian until June, is that correct?
Yes.
Until June. I know people who have ridden in this loved it. If you're old like me, you're like, I'm not doing that. There are safety operators for the pilot. So if something goes wrong, there's someone in there that can help you. It would be me hyperventilating. But yes, this is an amazing thing, and I would encourage you to get out there and take a ride. Next, we're going to invite up Steve Davison. Where are you, Chief? I am probably on the top 10 list of people that the fire department should be concerned about. So Smart 911, I'm that person that beeps when it's beeping with a broomstick until the battery falls out and then we're good. So I probably said this at the fire department. They were like, "What the Hartman? What?" This Smart 911 program is amazing. I'm excited to share with you.
We already have your numbers, so you don't happy Disability Awareness Month. One of the things that we're excited about with this is partnering with County Public Safety Communications to launch Smart 911. Smart 911 enables you to get on the website or their app, put in your information as much or as little as you like, and it allows us to get information on our units to find out if you have some people in your household that have disabilities, limited mobility, your pets, names of people in your household, as well as medications you may be on. A lot of information can be placed into this system that's all secure. For those of you who may already be on our special needs registry that we created in the city, we're going to get rid of that one and move all the information over into Smart 911. But with that being said, we need you all to log into this new system and put your information, and we won't be able to just arbitrarily move that over. Tracy, would you mind putting the video on real quick, and we'll just do a quick little overview of what the system looks like.
One moment. Technology's great, except when it isn't.
Well, while we're waiting, I'll just give you a heads up too. We have our swag table over here for Captain Mailing with information for Smart 911 brochures that will help you. And in addition, we'll have a tutorial on our website that will explain step by step how to go into the system, how to put in there. And are you ready to go?
You have an ad, apparently. I can't control the advertising.
Let's go.
Luncheon County first responders say they don't want to miss a moment when you are in an emergency. And if you sign up for Smart 911, they won't have to. Troy Washington is working for you, taking a look at how additional information can make all the difference in a crisis.
Every minute matters during an emergency. About a year ago, my nephew, Kyle Plush, called 911 twice in an emergency situation in Cincinnati. He was not found. Plush tried to call 911 by using his iPhone's voice-activated Siri after getting trapped inside of a minivan at school. The loss hurts, but pushes Jody Schwind to make sure no one else suffers while in trouble. 80% of the emergency phone calls coming through a mobile phone. And without Smart 911, when you make that phone call, that person on the other end of the phone answering your call knows nothing about you. Schwind lives in Hamilton County, where the recent rollout of Smart 911 gives her peace of mind on her quest. She can now rest assured as long as people sign up, first responders will be equipped with extra information to help them know where to go and how to help and who else to call once they arrive. I would encourage everybody to take the 5 minutes to download the app or go to the website and input just basic information about yourself or your family. Dispatchers typically find themselves relying on getting a hit off of a cell phone tower to figure out a latitude and longitude to find the caller, but Smart 911 allows people to simply enter their address. Jeff Sheemer says when he took the job as Executive Director of Public Safety Communications in Hamilton County in February, getting Smart 911 rolling was at the top of his list.
Awesome. Now, granted, this is all secure. We have no way to go in and search this. The only way we have access to it is when they dial 911 and we answer that phone.
Users can share a picture of their home, contact numbers for family members, even passcodes to give first responders access to their home during emergency, giving people the power to share as little or as much as they'd like. Working for you in Hamilton County, Troy Washington, RTV6.
To sign up, families can use either a smartphone or computer. Right now, Hamilton County leaders say around 400 people signed up. Since the very new feature to the county, they are still trying to get the word out.
So in our previous system we have about 240 users. We'd like to see that exponentially increase. We'd like to see as many people as we can.
It's a teenage girl,
apologies.
and she just made a big statement.
Get signed up for the program. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact Fire Department, Captain Mailing, particular, we'll get the point of contact, and we'll be around afterwards to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. As you can see, this is a community, this is a partnership, and we are just thankful of the influence that we've been able to provide to other communities. We're excited to share with you because of the efforts of the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. The City of Lawrence has started an advisory committee on disability. The City of Carmel started theirs last year, and Westfield and Noblesville are considering it too. And so we're hoping to make this a county-wide event at some point where we can really work collaboratively as a county, but within our local level. And we're so thankful for all our community partners. I want to thank everyone from HSC schools. They're doing an amazing job in providing more awareness and opportunities for the students at those schools to learn more about Disability Month. One of the events in particular that I know one of our members, Leslie Brown, has been working really hard in is that a former Michigan State basketball player, Anthony Iangi, is going to be coming to present around his story at the various schools at HSC. He is the first NCAA college basketball player athlete on the autism spectrum to play at Michigan State under Coach Izzo, and he also won 2 Big Ten championships, and was a member of the 2010 Final Four team and has been a recipient of many awards, and he is a public speaker, and he's coming to share his story of how he was diagnosed on the autism spectrum at 4, and he was told that he wasn't going to be able to graduate from high school or go to college or be an athlete, and he has a wonderful story. So we're excited that this is moving beyond just within the city, but all over the city, with HSC Schools as our partner, with the Hamilton East Public Library is also offering workshops the month of March. So please go to the website. We encourage everyone to go to the Fishers website for more details on all the events planned at fishers.in.us/disability awareness. In the back, we have postcards with all the events that are planned for the month of March. One in particular, if you are a business owner or if you serve the public, we have partnered with the One Zone, and we are so grateful that we have partnered with the One Zone Chamber of Commerce, who is helping us to help promote disability awareness, but also educate employers of how we can start employing capable and excited and people that want to work to fill some of the unmet needs that we have here in our community. So the event is the One Zone March Luncheon, and that is March 9th, Wednesday at the Forum at 11 o'clock, with a presentation called A Photographic Journey Through an Inaccessible World. It's a do not miss event where you're really going to understand the inaccessibility sometimes in our own environment that you might not think about. So it's very eye-opening, but I encourage you to take a look at that. We are expanding our influence. We are achieving more together, and Kelly and I are just so proud that we are a light. We're providing hope, we're providing opportunities. This is what this month of March is all about. It's about encouraging, supporting, learning more about disabilities, and become an ally. We just hope that you will put the signs out, wear your shirt, learn how you talk to people with disabilities, what you can do to be a good friend, a good ally, and a good supporter.
What she said. We would like for you to check this out at fishers.in.us/disability awareness. Another One Zone, if you're interested, if you're sitting here and you're like, I'm an employer, I want to learn more about how to employ people who might have differences. We have the One Zone Caffeinated Conversation on Disability Employment Tuesday, March 22nd. That's going to be a really great time. And this is published nowhere except Facebook, but if you want to hear more about Scott Fadness as our leading mayor on the virtual town hall Wednesday night, I'll be joining him Wednesday night for that comedy hour. Most of all, while I have the opportunity to say this, as you know, many of us are emotional about successes now and the successes that we anticipate in the future. I just once again want to thank Cecilia for her leadership, the leadership of the city staff and our mayor. It is a really, really cool time to live in the city of Fishers, and we really are a beacon of hope for other cities who want to follow in our footsteps. So happy to be a part of it, and I want to thank Cecilia for her leadership.
And one last thing, I just encourage you, if you want to get involved, please reach out to Kelly and I. We are wanting your help. We're wanting you to be a part of what we're doing. And we thank you for being here. And we would welcome anyone that would like to be in a group photo, any of our special guests here, award recipients, and our stakeholders that have been involved in creating this Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability. If you could come up, we're going to do a group photo. So thank you very much and enjoy the day.